Okay, we are getting going. So I want to welcome all of you guys to the call. Um, Happy Monday, and this is our pursuit to Punta Cana boot camp, but really it's our pursuit to changing lives. It's our pursuit to having amazing businesses. And in our industry, there's two parts of our business. There's the transformational side, there's the transactional side. The transformational side really starts with your heart and your pursuit of finding people that are looking for a solution, and you just so happen to be have the answer, and you're the bridge to their solution in many cases. And because we do have that heart, and because we are out there actively looking for people to serve, then that brings what we call the transactional side. And the transactional side is what shows up in our numbers, and when we talk about our businesses, and just so happens to lead us towards these different rankings, and executive director and FIBC and regional and global galactical whatever, but really it just starts to show up. So um, I'm showing up today. I'm so excited that you guys are showing up today. Today is going to be special. I mean, we have some heavy hitters, and talking about the foundations of this business. If we do not do these things, then it's going to be like trying to build a house on quicksand. And before, it's so funny because I used to, as a newer coach, I used to listen to my coaches. And at some point, you just have to start to trust what they say if you actually want to go and build a sustainable business. But a lot of times I didn't have the evidence yet. So I would hear my coaches say these things, and I would regurgitate them, and I would say it, but not really having the evidence. Now I've had the evidence. I've been through it. I know it for a fact. And these are some of the things that we're going to talk about. But let's talk about this boot camp. We're about a week in, which is really exciting. And, this boot camp is unique, particularly because in the past, in order to be in sort of boot camps like this, there's been a requirement. There's been, we've asked coaches to go rank up to at least senior coach. And let me just preference that generally up to senior coach, because in these boot camps, we really don't spend a lot of time talking about things that brand new coaches, the senior coach, will want to know. And particularly because if you're a brand new coach, it's the only thing you really need to do is just partner with your mentorship. And mentors, if you're working with new coaches, really the only things that we need to help them do is just get into action as soon as possible, to learn how to do health assessment calls, to learn the different systems that go along with that if their candidate is not ready, to learn how to really and uniquely find out someone's how before they just start giving them the why, or start to figure out someone's why before we start to give them the how. Generally, a new coach is going to come in and they're just going to want to regurgitate everything that they've experienced to their candidate. And what we're trying to teach them how to do from the very beginning, from the very first question that they ask, is how to become an empathetic coach. And so for a brand new coach, it shouldn't take very long to bring on your first 5 to 6 clients, but really just working with your mentorship team. For boot camps like this, we go all in. We go to the deep end of the pool, and we really give you the foundations and the information to go out there and start to serve the masses, start to serve a tremendous amount of people. And in the past, we said, okay, if you're brand new or you haven't really acquired your first 5 to 6 clients, then these boot camps may not be appropriate for you. But in this one, we've opened it up to everyone. We said, let's be a family. Let's have a blast. Let's all join together. Let's all get on one boot camp page. Let's all be committed. Let's all run for our goals. And that's why this one is unique. So with that being said, I want to ask the group for your permission, because we're not really going to be slowing down, because we're not going to, we're going to kind of just be keeping it real. I want to ask you guys for your permission right now, because everybody that's coming on today, everyone that's going to share today, have gone out there and built tremendous businesses. They've touched so many lives. In fact, every single trainer that's going to come on in these boot camps, they've done the same thing. They put the work in. They've gone out there and they're helping a lot of people, and a lot of lives have been changed because of that. And they're probably not going to hold back. And that's probably why you join this boot camp. It's because you want to be held accountable, right? Because you want to be committed. So when we're working with coaches one-on-one, I remember when my coaches used to say something like this, and you guys will chuckle. They'll say, would you, that sounds good. Would you mind if I coach you a little bit? Have any of you guys ever heard your coach say that? And I knew for a fact, once Karen said that, I knew I was in for it, because I knew I probably said something really crazy, or I was thinking something really crazy, and she's probably listening to it, just thinking, this guy's got a long ways to go, right? And the only way we can really mentor and coach someone is we ask for permission. We ask for permission. Would you mind if I coach you on that? Or would you mind if I help present a different option or way of looking at that? And so what I'm asking you guys is just right up front is for permission to do that. And not just for me to do that, but for all the other coaches that's going to be training and sharing with you guys. Do we have permission to coach you? Because the one thing I want you to know is our heart and our authenticity. I think that's the way you say that word. And that's important to know, and to have that trust, and to know that everything that we say, even if it's in a strong way, it's because we want everyone in this group to be extremely successful. So I'm asking for that permission now. And one of the things that it's going to take to be extremely successful is to be open and coachable. So if I have your permission, then please, in the chat group, just say permission granted, or yes, you have permission, or please coach me. Please, every trainer, help me be the best that I can be. And this is going to take, for some of us, it took me a long time, because I have a lot of ego, I have a lot of pride, and sometimes my ego would get in the way. But that's what it's going to take. So that's why I want us to be locked in today, focus, really just, turn any devices off, turn off the notifications, shut down Facebook for a minute, because we're going to talk about the 4 foundations within this business. We don't need slides or anything like that. Take notes. But if we don't have these 4 things, you guys, I can promise you, we are not going to be able to reach the goals that we want. And we're going to build a house on quicksand. It might spring up really fast. I've seen it over and over and over again with lots of coaches. You might build something and you think, oh my gosh, this thing's going to last forever. And then within a year, I've seen coaches, their businesses just completely plummet. I've seen global directors go completely away because they have not built on these 4 foundations. I remember when I was a brand new coach, I would think to myself, how the heck can you grow to global director or presidential director and then leave? How is that possible? Well, it's possible because they're not doing these 4 things consistently. They have built their house on quicksand, and they have not built on solid foundations. And I do not want to see that happen to this family of coaches. So before we get into that, there's a couple things that you guys will want to know and have done already. Now, what's unique about this boot camp is this is an action-based boot camp. This isn't let me sit on the sidelines, let me just hope that I can, get this wisdom to just sink into me. And because I've gotten this information, then all of a sudden lives are going to change and my life's going to change. It doesn't work like that. The only way that things are going to change is if we get into action. And so there's 3 action steps that we've already been talking about. And if you guys know what those are, put them in the comments. There's 3 things that we've been saying to do essentially every single day, and that we've already thrown out there for us to do from the very beginning. So the one thing that we'll want to get really good with already is the 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 by 3. We call it the 3 by 5. Thank you, Helen. So we've already been doing this. This isn't something that we want to do when we feel like it. or every other day, or when family members aren't in town, or when it's not Halloween, or when it's not Christmas, or when it's not Thanksgiving. No, we do this every day, every day, every day. But what if Hurricane Sandy hit my house? Do it anyway. What if the kids got sick? Okay, well, just move that block of time over to when they're asleep. So these are things that we're going to do every day. That's what this boot camp is about. It's about action. The other thing that we talked about that that you'll want to have done, in no words, if you haven't done it, no big deal. Don't beat yourself up. Don't go to that place. Just do it now. But that's your map. We're telling you these are the cornerstones of actions and activities that you want to do every single month. This is how you build something that's amazing. So your map is a non-negotiable. If you're at senior coach and above, guess what you're going to do every single month? Every single month, there's certain things that you want to do for your business. The 3x5 is one of them. The map is another one. And then lastly, follow up. So I recommend follow up on Fridays. This is a block that you're going to take. You're going to get out your cell phone. You're going to block out some time to follow up. This is a non-negotiable. There's no point of going out there and planting all these seeds with the 3x5 and not watering them and not taking care of them. Your crop is never going to sprout if you don't water them. In this business, the watering consistently is called follow-up. If you don't do it, we're not going to be successful. You might have something spring up for a few minutes, a few hours, a few days, but it is going to wither and die away. Most of your success is going to come in following up. Now, if you've got these voices in your head that's telling you, well, don't follow up because I'm going to bug them. They're going to think I'm bugging them. Look, I told you this boot camp was about being real. If those are your voices, let the voices be there, but go do it anyway. I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom. I'm telling you what it is to do. So these are the action steps we've already been talking about. These are non-negotiables. These are things that you'll want to do every single day, every single day. So very unique. I want to, before I bring on our next speaker to tell us about the first cornerstone, and I don't want to give it away and take his glory, but I just want to remind you guys that, you know, what we do is so important. So many people are looking for it. And not only that, is this life is so incredibly short, you guys. So if our desires to be in this, to go out there and really serve people, then let's go serve them. If a big part of your desire with building this business is to completely change your life, like I was so focused on that years ago, then go and do it. We don't know what's going to happen today or tomorrow. We don't know who's waiting for us. That's you know, they're thinking thoughts that they shouldn't be thinking right now. So that's how important it is for us. So I want to bring on Global Director Justin Aveni to really talk to us about our first cornerstone of this business. These are the 4 things that if we're not working on, we don't have to be amazing on it, but I want you to rate yourself. If you're not great with these things, then let's start working on them. Because if we don't, you're going to see a flash in the pan. You're going to be really successful maybe today and a year from now wondering why is my success dried up? Why don't I want to do this business? Things like that. So I want to bring on Global Director Justin Aveni to talk to us about our first foundational cornerstone of how to build a really successful business. Justin, are you there?
Yes, sir. What's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Morning.
Hey, okay, cool. You can hear me. So who's excited? Are we all excited? I want to wake everybody up, right? It's 6 a.m. Hopefully I don't wake up Charlotte because then Jenny will come flying out here yelling at me. But I just want to be excited about what's going on, right? My whole mind shift since Sundance has been huge. Why? Let's talk about the first question. So why did we really start this program? What was one of the main reasons we started this program? probably how we felt, right? A lot of us, can we agree with that? Shake your head, wink at me, put your hand in the air. Okay, cool. So we know that one of the most amazing feelings is when we get into that fat burn, right? That energy increases, we start to feel good, we're sleeping, we don't need to drag butt to our amazing spot of coffee, right? So that really is one of the things I've known historically to start us on the path of deterring from action steps. Huge, huge thing is leading with our health, not only for an example, but the fact of we start to feel a certain way, we start to do less productivity. So the main thing we want to do is lead with our health. And the main thing we want to do is lead with our own journey of what we were looking for when we first started this. Because as time gets into this, as that honeymoon phase of the 5-in-1 kind of goes away, right? We get back into maintenance phase, life starts happening. We want our energy to stay there. And as we talk to people, we can't control their energy, but we try to be excited about what's going on. So our main focus at that point is not to be perfect, but to just practice those habits. Practice those habits of eating every 2 to 3 hours, making sure we're getting our water in, leading by example. We don't have to be perfect though, guys. When I say that, we don't have to be perfect, but we want to partner with people, not be above them, but partner with them on this journey. That's the point of the community of why this program is so important. I didn't set my alarms, anyways, the point is though, is partnering with people on how we're working on it. So whether we're on a 5-in-1, whether we're on a 4-in-2, whether we're on a 3-in-3, whatever you want to call it, a 5, 7, and 12, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're leading with our energy. And the only way you do that is eat healthy or do the best of that version, right? Because if our energy starts to deteriorate, compounded on maybe you get that bad client that week, compounded on people aren't calling you back, compounded on posts are negative on Facebook, whatever it is, the only thing we can control is what? Us. The only thing we can control is us. And if our energy isn't good, then who's going to want to pick up the phone? Who's going to want to reach that first goal? Who's going to want to do the 3-3-3, the 5-5-5-5? Who's going to want to get up early? Right? That's the main focus of this thing. One of the biggest things I learned with this is as we get into this business, we kind of start to take it for granted. Like we're in action, we're doing stuff, and well, maybe if I miss this meal here, I miss this meal there, or well, I'm gonna do this. Then all of a sudden our energy starts to deteriorate. And then our business starts to deteriorate. Right? Like Jamil said, he's seen global businesses, presidential businesses go away. And I can guarantee you, if you get back down to the root of it, it started with them. It started with them going away to those old habits. And I think the biggest thing is this group, we're talking about raw, real, and being authentic with each other. Look at Doug Wood. Doug Wood had those moments where he said, okay, man, it's time to get going. Right? That's one of the reasons why we made the men's and women's accountability groups. Right? That 6 weeks. How cool was that? Like we were in there, we're excited, our energy's back up, we're 5-in-1, everybody's just going. That's what we need to do. So we need to lean in with each other, but lead with our health. We don't have to be perfect, guys. Because the first thing we think when we have to be perfect, one is there's an end result. And two, as soon as we're not perfect, we shut down shop. Well, I can't talk to somebody because I'm not doing it. That's not what we're saying. We're saying to partner with them. Have those moments of we're being connected together and we're keeping our energy consistent. I'll be honest with you. If I start eating like crap, I feel like crap, right? We all know that. That's the biggest thing. So we want to lead with our health. We have our personal order from our coaches, right? I've been ordering from Jamil for 4.5 years, almost 5 years now, $180 or whatever it is. My half order, sometimes it's 200 because we travel, right? But I eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, or I sure as dang try. Every 2.5 to 3 hours. I try to stay with my lean and greens as much as I can. But I know I'm not perfect. I try it on my water, and that's the accountability. But the energy is there. We know the energy is there when we feel good. And as soon as we stop with our own health, or at least trying, our business tanks. Literally, if you go back to the sole root of why we're not making those calls, we don't feel like talking to those clients, we don't feel like posting, right? It usually starts with who? So I'm just guesstimating, Jamil, that I think I was in, I'm not too sure how long I was going for, but guys, it's very important for us. I've seen good friends of mine that I've started this business with have disappeared due to the fact of their journey has stopped physically for them. Their business has stopped physically for them. So thank you.
So strong, man. Appreciate you. So foundation one, lead with our own health. And you see this consciously in a lot of different areas within your business. It's one of the first activities that your map has listed out for you, which is lead with your health first. And so as I was putting this together, and as we were putting this together, I was thinking, how can I bring these guys tremendous value? So when they get off of this boot camp, they know what the foundations are, not only for themselves, but for all of the coaches that they are currently coaching or going to be coaching in the future. And Justin's right. It isn't about being perfect, but it is about being on your journey. And every single day when you wake up, it's something that's important to you. It's never going to end, ever. And I think that that's why I'm so excited, and my expectations for my clients are to become coaches, because this is what the community is for. So partner up with someone in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Go all in. Be focused. Be tremendously focused. And whatever that plan is for you, then do that. Because what I can promise you is that if you are focused on this for the next 6 to 8 weeks, as we roll into January, there's going to be this huge explosion. Guys, I'm not hoping that there's going to be this huge explosion. I know for a fact that from what we do right now, it's going to set up what 2018 looks like from right now. And a big part of that is this first fundamental foundation. How can I build my business on solid ground and not quicksand? Is this one. It's so important. It's so important. So foundation number 2, I don't think that there's a better person in this company to talk about this. And I say this being tutored by her for getting close to 6 years now. But this one, if I didn't have this one, I'll be honest with you. When I came into this one to Optavia, I didn't have this to a large degree. This is something that I've had to learn. So this is what I'm saying to you guys. If you guys aren't great at these things right now, don't worry about it. We can always get better. I've really gotten better over the years on this one, but it's taken me a lot of work. For some people, it comes really natural, really easy. But I want to bring on Presidential Director Karen Ellstrom to talk to us about foundation number 2. Is so critically important. Karen, are you there?
I am here.
Good morning.
Good morning. So great to see all of you. So what I'm going to be talking about is really loving on and caring about people, not to be salesy, but really someone who truly cares, just authentically from your heart. And I think one of the best things, and I'm going to talk about several things about that and how to be better at that. And what Jamil said is so true. All of these skills that we're talking about, you can think, oh man, I don't do that really well, but that's okay, because every single thing can be learned, which is what's so awesome about what we do, is we just get better and better every day. The first thing that I say is fall in love with your clients and your coach's story. Do you know every single person's story that you're working with? And do you have client stories and coaches' stories that keep you up at night, that you lay in bed thinking like, oh gosh, they have such an amazing story. What can I do to make sure that they are able to reach their goals? And really getting lost in the success of people. That's what I love. It's like, wow, what can I do? Just get totally lost. Be so interested in them, their goals, their dreams, and what's important to them. And if you're not at first, that's okay. Because what you'll find is the more you become engaged and entrenched with them and walking alongside them, that just comes over time. And I think the secret, honestly, the secret of the universe for this is to become a really good listener, an authentic listener. And I really want to encourage you from this moment forward to really take listening to the next level. And so for the next few minutes, I want to share with you some things about listening, and really look at yourself as we're talking about these things. Look at those around you and find where you are, and then take it from there, and the sky's the limit. Because you know what? When you become a good listener, people love you because they know you care about them, because that is a gift, and that's what we call it, the gift of listening. So how often have you been chatting with someone, and before you can even finish your sentence, they interrupt to share their own thoughts? Anyone have that experience? Or perhaps you're in the middle of making a point, and their attention's pulled away by what? A cell phone that they suddenly have to answer, or they have to return a text, or even if they don't return it, you can hear the ding of their messages and they can't help themselves. They have to look at it. Maybe even any of us on this call are guilty of that. And we've even watched people who have been involved with someone who you're talking to, and they're going, or nodding. And don't you just know that they haven't heard a single word that you've said? And it's so funny because we think if we're that person doing that, we really think that the person thinks that we're engaged with them. But when it happens to us, don't you know they're not, right? So listening at the level that can change your life is so cool, because it's an art and it just takes practice. But every single person, if you want to, can make it happen. And the gift of listening is simply listening to a commitment, or with a commitment, I should say, to hear exactly what the other person is saying. And how do you do that? I think giving the gift of listening starts with you setting aside your agenda, your opinions, and just become totally present in the conversation. And when you make a commitment at the beginning of a conversation to have it be all about the other person, and remember, you don't have to do this in every conversation, because in our business, we do different things, right? We have a health assessment that you're specifically asking certain questions, but then there's parts within the health assessment that you want to learn about the person you're talking to. So I would say set this up in a conversation, the ones that your goal is for the other person to walk away feeling better about themselves than before they spoke to you. And it's really funny because in most cases, they also feel better about you too. Have you noticed when you really listen to people, they honestly think you're amazing? And probably when you let someone talk and you just ask them questions about themselves, and maybe you haven't said a word or two at all, and they think you're the most amazing person and most interesting person that they've ever met. So you'll also want to start listening with your body and your heart and your intuition instead of your mind. Then what does that mean? It's like when we're listening with our mind, we have an agenda. I'm sorry, when we're listening with our mind, we have an agenda that we want to check off. It's like we want to make sure we ask them this and this and this, or we tell them. When you're listening with your heart, you're truly engaged, focused, and listening to what they say. And your next question comes from whatever it is they're telling you, right? It's like an intuition thing. And to do this, there's a couple things that you want to practice doing. The first thing is really just clear your mind with any thoughts or opinions. Like just start with a clean slate and really be fully engaged in listening. And if you have thoughts about this person you're talking to, if you have an opinion as to whether they might be interested in what you're doing, just disregard all that. And also the chatter, right? How often are you talking to someone and you're listening and they're talking away and you're looking at them, but you're like, I wonder what we're going to have for dinner tonight. Oh, yes, I have to stop at the store and pick up this, that, or the other. Or, oh, I wonder what Susie's doing. Oh, my phone just texted me. I wonder who that is. But just because we're looking at them does not mean that we are engaged in the conversation. So pay attention to that. And when you do that and you start to think of those other things, focus yourself. Stop, recommit, re-presence yourself in the conversation. And when you do this often and you practice this, it will just come naturally. And that's what's so cool about it. And so pay attention to how you listen. We all have habitual listening filters. So it's actually quite funny because as we talk about these things, we all have them. So pay attention to which one is you, or maybe there's several. So when you're listening to people, are you thinking, I already know this. You know, I already know about this. I really don't really need to listen, but I'll just look at you and act like I am. Or, come on, hurry and get to the point. And sometimes don't you even have people finishing your conversations, right? Because they think they know what's next. Or, I love this one. Whatever you're sharing, I wish you'd hurry up and quit talking because I have something that's even better and I can hardly wait to tell you my story, right? And I disagree with your position now, so I'm really not going to listen to you. I'm going to stare at you as if I'm listening to you, but really, I don't really care what you're saying. We think people don't know, and they know. Because when it happens to you, you know. So really identify your skill and practice recognizing when it's in play and be willing to just shut it off. Because remember, we're practicing, and we get better and better at this. And start replacing them with things that serve, like, I'm here, your filter is, I'm here to listen to everything you have to say. I'm here because it's all about you today, and I want to learn and know everything I can know about you. And really, when we talk about authentically listening, really practice that. And also ask questions. And your questions are not to lead the conversation. Your questions are for clarification and to further the conversation down the road. And don't try and fix someone. How often when someone's talking to you and they're telling you something and we just want to jump in and try and fix whatever they're telling us about. Self-discovery is the best. And how do you do that? By asking more questions such as, well, tell me more about that. How does that make you feel? Or maybe you say something like, if you did know or had to guess, what would it be? Often when someone asks me a question and I really know that they know, that's what I'll say. Well, if you did know, what do you think it would be? To continue the conversation. Or you might just say, well, what else? Well, what happened next? And I love this one. And now this is on our health assessment and I love it. Basically, what question haven't I asked you that would be helpful for me to know? And it is amazing how long you can carry on a conversation that you're only listening and the person you're talking to really knows nothing about you because all you care about is them and asking them more about themselves. And I would say the single most impactful word that describes what happens here is we are truly honoring another person. And most people in their lives, maybe when they were little kids and their parents wanted to know all about them when they were going to school and what they did on a daily basis, but most people do not have relationships with this kind of listening. And you will find when you start implementing this, that what you can give to your clients, family, friends, this isn't just about our business. Our business is people every day and building relationships. And when you can implement this in every single conversation that you have, really being a good listener, you will be amazed at how your relationships will blossom and grow. So starting today, really pay attention to your listening and don't say anything about yourself. And so now that we've talked about this, often when we're talking to someone, they'll say something, then we'll want to say, oh, well, let me tell you what happened to me, or let me tell you my experience. Pay attention to that. Will that move the conversation forward? Will that serve the relationship? Or is it better just to ask another question and learn more about them? Implement this, your business will explode. Thanks, Jamel.
Thank me. Thank you. I mean, guys, if you guys aren't taking notes on this stuff, I don't know what we're doing. Listen, here's the deal. We're giving it to you raw. We're giving it to you straight. And we got to love people. We have to fall in love with people. I don't know any other way of necessarily saying that, but the love and the compassion and the heart for people has to be, when you wake up every single day, you'll want to wake up with a mindset of who can I serve today and what people are looking for me today. I know that there's thousands, there's millions, in fact, there's billions of people that need what I have, and I care about them enough to actually go seek them out to help them. We're in the heart business. If we do not have this foundation, the business is going to crumble up and it is going to go away. Again, this wasn't something that I had. I was a numbers guy. I could sell you on anything. It didn't serve me. I didn't know how to listen. I didn't know how to ask questions. I cared about myself more than I cared about other people. This is why my marriage was dying quickly. And this was something that needed to be learned. How can I remove my agenda, my ego, focusing on myself, and now daily, as hard and as much as possible, put it on other people? This is a foundation. It has to be done, or the business will go bye-bye. And I've seen it go bye-bye with lots of people, because this is a mission that's based on heart and serving other people. And when folks start turning it back on themselves and making it about them, it starts to crumble. Very important. That was so good. We're so fortunate for the leadership and the mentorship that we get. And so, Karen, I want to thank you so much. Cornerstone number 3, this is a foundation that, again, I was not strong at. This is something that has to be learned, for me at least. And it talks all about integration. Those that are integrated do very well. Those that don't, or only are for a short amount of time, they don't do well. And that's as simple as it is. So I want to bring on Global Director Toni Varone to talk to us about foundation number 3, integration. Toni, you there?
I'm here. Thank you so much. Just listening to Justin and Karen has been amazing. So being integrated was definitely something that I didn't think I needed at first. I definitely came into this with a big ego. I thought I knew everything. I'll never forget, one day I said to Justin, I don't need to be on the boot camp. I'm already an ED, and I know what I'm doing. I know how I got there. And he said, well, it's not always about you. It's about other people too. So when your coaches see you on these trainings, it's helping them, you're integrating yourself, and there's always something that I learn. And so it doesn't matter what level you get to. Even Dr. A is constantly bettering himself. So you want to get in on the trainings. Like I may have thought this morning that I knew everything that you guys were going to talk about, and I'm still learning a lot of things. So, you want to get in on the trainings. You want to go to trainings. We have events in Ontario once a month, and I may have heard every single slide and every single person speak, but I'm still going to learn something new each time. But not just that, you're setting an example for your team. When you're working with your mentorship team, you want to be present, just like Karen was saying. You want to listen. You want to, by you working with your mentorship team and being present there, you're also setting an example for your team and being present for them to be present with you when you're trying to help them. Getting in on the text threads. So, there are a lot of text threads. There's a lot of posts in the groups, but it takes 2 seconds to post something and to help somebody else out. And I think that my part in this is mostly, for me, helping others. So it doesn't matter if the person's on my team. It doesn't matter if I know them, if I don't know them. I always want to help other people. So I think that as leaders, we should all be helping everyone. Again, getting on boot camps, it's really important. leading boot camps. So if you have a chance to lead a boot camp, get in there, and you have no idea the things that you can learn. It just seems like the day that you get asked to talk about a certain slide, that's like something that you really need to work on. And again, being present. So just like Karen said, it's about listening. I mean, I'm sure, have any of you ever been to a training where you sit on your phone the whole time? How much do you retain from that? I can remember classes that I went to. My first event was Go Global, and I went in thinking, I have no idea what they're talking about. I just hit ED. I don't know how I did it. And just kind of sitting on my phone and not being present. And I didn't take a whole lot out of it. So just really try and be present in everything. Again, you're setting an example for people on your team. You're setting an example for future people that might be on your team. And you're also being there to help others. So this isn't all about us. I think a lot of us come into this with a big ego. I know I did. And just, it can be hard to work through that and get out of that. But there's always something to learn. So like I said, even Dr. A gets on trainings. Even Dr. A is constantly bettering himself. At Go Global this year, I had an integrated presidential director come up to me and said, I've been listening to your boot camp calls. And I'm like, what? Who are you? So it was Brian Drollinger's brother. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he actually gets on our calls. And I thought that was really neat. So, I'm sure you guys have heard the quote, when you stop learning, you start dying. So it's just really important to constantly better yourself, not just for your team, not just for your business, but for everybody around you and the people that might be in your business in the future.
Love it, man. It's so important. Thank you so much, Toni. Integration, just look around. I mean, it just makes sense. If you look around at the coaches that are doing well, doing the best, they integrate themselves, but they don't just integrate themselves. They do an amazing job at integrating their clients and their coaches as well. That's the one thing about Optavia. If someone tells me, I'm just going to be real. Coaches do an amazing job of making a ton of excuses. It's just how it is. And so I'll have a coach or a client complain that they didn't have enough information, or they didn't get enough training, or they didn't know about such and such. And in my head, I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Optavia throws out trainings probably 2-3 times a day. What do you mean? If you're a client, you have a whole afternoon dedicated to you on Wednesdays. For health coaches, we have trainings practically every single day. Well, my mentor wasn't around. You got to be kidding me. There's trainings that you can get on. The system is there. All we have to do is plug ourselves into it. So that's the integration process. It's so important, not just for ourselves, but you look at who's on the boot camps, who's on the trainings, who's consistently showing up. And as you consistently show up, it's magical how your clients and your coaches will consistently show up as well. If you consistently are not there, it's going to be magical why you're wondering why my clients and my coaches are consistently not there. If we're not in our Dr. A's Habits of Health material, it's going to be amazing how our clients and our coaches are not in their Dr. A's material. If we're not on boot camps, it's going to be amazing how you start to find that your coaches are not on boot camps. If you're not going to trainings, it's going to be amazing. It's just the way that this business goes. You tend to attract that in which you are. So integration is huge, you guys. Working with your mentors. I have not seen one person, and this is one of those things that I used to just listen to my coaches say, but I didn't have the experience. Now I have the experience. I have not seen one person be successful in this company without using their mentors. Not one. I'm not saying it's an impossibility. I'm just saying personally, I have never seen it, and I haven't heard from anyone else that they've seen it. So maybe it can be done, but I would like to just use the odds that if I want to be really successful in this, I should probably use my mentorship team. So Cornerstone 4, really important. And again, I think we have one of the best people in this company to talk about it. So I want to bring on Global Director Emily Flores to really talk to us about Cornerstone 4, which is being coachable and teachable. And again, this was something that I absolutely was not for a long time. And it's something that I needed to learn, but it's the foundation. Emily Flores, are you there?
I am. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Okay, so I would like to see a show of hands. Can we all agree that we have an amazing established system that already works? Show of hands. Okay, it's so simple, it's laughable, right? Right. So it's not rocket science, you guys, and anyone, regardless of, background, professional, educational pedigree, it doesn't matter. Everyone can learn how to do it, yes? Okay. So if that's true, why do so many of us think that our business would be booming if only we could reinvent or tweak things a little bit? So this is a common feeling. So I came into this profession as a health coach, as a therapist. So you guys, I basically have a master's degree in listening, right? So one could argue that I came into this already having the skills to know how to make this business happen. But like so many who come to this business who are like me, MLM, network marketing, whatever you want to call this, I had zero experience in this realm. And so I needed to learn everything I could. I listened to my mentor coach. I plugged into resources. I plugged into trainings. I basically became a student of this profession because this is a profession. So, health coaching, it really does require us to be open to learning literally the simple system. And if someone isn't seeing success on my team and I examine why that is, it's usually because, it's always because they're just not following the system. So either they don't trust in the system, or maybe they're a little arrogant to think that they could do it faster, stronger, better, their own way. And normally that would be me, but when I came into this, I knew I was clueless. So I did exactly what I was coached to do. Not that I didn't fight Jamel along the way, but I always ended up doing it because I knew I wanted to reach my goals and that I needed to do the work that I was being told was going to help me get there. So, once I got the basics down, I did get to add my own flair, my own style, my own personality. But that wasn't until I knew what the hell I was doing. So if you don't feel like you have the basics down, it's not time to start doing that. So what I would like to do right now is I want all of us to make a commitment to be 100% coachable. So I want you to decide right now that you're going to do it. Even though you're on mute, I want you to declare right now, I am 100% coachable. I'm waiting to see mouths moving. Okay. Did you do it? Did you declare it? Cool. So if you did, you've already passed the first test. And if you did not declare it, that's okay. I don't want you guys to say it unless you truly believe it 100%. But you might want to reflect on why you didn't, So you're going to hear us say this a lot, but why is being coachable so important? I think the biggest reason is if you're not coachable, you're not going to talk to enough people. And everyone knows that that's the biggest thing to grow this business is just to talk to people. You won't implement the proven tools that we're teaching you to help you grow your business, like simple systems, your map, the health assessment. You are going to spend more time making a file system that you think is better than the one that we have already. You're going to spend time reformatting documents so they look pretty in the way that you feel they should look. You're going to make up your own daily text messages because if you did it your way, that's when clients will start sticking around. You're going to insist on reading every single file that there ever was on health coaching before I even tell people I'm a coach. Has anyone felt this way? So this is what reinventing the wheels look like, guys. And this is what's holding you back. So You know, these kinds of things are not what grows your business. It's honestly just busy work. And I know that because there's a part of me inside that instinctively wants to do that stuff. And it's a fight to not do it. But I've learned by watching that that's not what's going to grow my business. So I'm very like, clean the house, organize my desk perfectly before I make a phone call. Like, my instincts tell me to do that and I have to fight it. But I'd made a commitment to stop reinventing the wheel when I became a health coach, because honestly, I trusted my mentor. I saw how successful he was, and I trusted that why would I have to do anything differently than he was doing? I looked at other leaders. Why would I do anything different than what they're doing? It's working for them. Why am I so different? So I just want you guys to make a commitment to really become students of this profession. Watch what successful people around you are doing. Put on events like they do. Get yourself to trainings like they do. Get your butt to national convention like they do. And something that we're always saying, you know, success leaves clues. And we say it because it's true. So I want you guys to really, be detectives. Watch the people around you who are just flying and soaring and, seeing great success, and know that most likely they're just following the same system that you already have in your hands. But they're not trying to reinvent it. They're literally just following it. So you already have the tools, you guys. Just follow it. And that's my that's my word of wisdom.
I love it. Oh my gosh, so strong. Emily, I was laughing at half the stuff because I did that, right? Like, I mean, even when it comes down, I've seen people just create their own websites and crazy business cards. And it's like, no, spend that time, go talk to like 5 more people.
Yeah. And I would want to do that, honestly. I'd be like, if I had a slow month, I'd be like, maybe it's time for business cards. And literally I would think like, does Jamil have business cards? Nope. Cool. Forget it. I don't need a business card. Like, my mind wanted to reinvent constantly. That's just the nature of how my brain works. And I really had to just tell my brain to shut up because it just wasn't serving me. And all that stuff is not income producing whatsoever. It's a waste of time. And so, I mean, not to be blunt, but it's a freaking waste of time.
Yeah, love it. Very, very strong. So, 4th foundation, you guys, it's being open to be coachable and teachable. You know, we spend hours and hours and hours with ourselves. And so some of the times, most of the times, what we think is right, but generally it's not right to help move our business forward. And so the only way that we can start to get a clear path set out for us is to simply be coachable and teachable, and to follow the lead of our mentors. And this is why I asked for your permission at the beginning of the call, because it's not going to be easy. We want to be right. We want to defend. We want our walls to go up. I'm saying this from experience, guys. I still haven't. When Dr. A comes down hard on me, which is pretty much every single time I see him, right away, my walls want to go up. And I have to quiet down that ego and say, this guy is telling me what's true, what's not only best for me, but what's best for thousands to come. And so I could be impeding people who's in, like, I don't know where they're at right now in their lives. All I know is they're probably on my path, and probably how they're going to get help is if I remove my ego and I do these things that I may not want to do. So it's so important. Okay, so how good was this? Was this helpful? These are the 4 critical foundations, guys. Without having these things, I have not seen people be successful long-term with this. So let's kind of recap. Foundation number 1, lead with our health first, guys. It's not about being perfect, but it is about being on your journey and constantly trying to get better with this. This is something that's constantly on the forefront of your thought. You're not pushing it to the back burner. You're not saying necessarily, tomorrow or next month or whatever. It's just something that, just little things we're just trying to get better with. We're using the community, and we have the desire to lead with our health first. It doesn't mean we have to walk around looking like, James Richard or Justin Aveni or something like that. But it does mean for our own personal journeys. And this is something that I'd be lying if I said I didn't struggle with every day for the last 5.5 years. But it's about getting better. This is what this whole journey is about, is internally becoming a better human being. Foundation number 2 is, Karen says so eloquently, we have to love people. Without that, this is a heart business. Without that, we might as well pack it up and get off of the Zoom and leave. We got to learn how to do these things. We got to learn how to start putting other people and their interests before ours. And Karen did such a great job. Foundation number 3 is integrate. We have to become an integrated client and an integrated coach and start learning how to integrate others. And Toni did such a great job. Toni, I want to thank you for that. And Foundation 4, which Emily talked about, is becoming coachable and teachable always. Always, always, always. So here's the deal. Shortly, we're going to start ramping up these action steps. Right now, we've been doing basically 3x5, which is good, but we're just kind of getting you guys engaged in this thing. For us to do the things that we want to do, it basically comes down to having the right sort of attitude, always seeing the good in everything, in every situation. Every single thing that happens to us is a blessing. And I know it sounds really weird that can be a statement, but it basically comes down to how you want to see it and how you want to use it for you to go out and do the things that you want to do to reach those goals that you set for yourself. It also comes down to fundamentally, how many people am I talking to? And so right now we're asking you guys to basically talk to 3 people, right? With the 3x5. But we're going to start ramping that up here pretty shortly, just to kind of give you a heads up. So those are things that we want to do. If we haven't been doing the 3x5 daily, make a commitment to start doing it. Again, nothing's going to happen if nothing happens. If you haven't done your map already, please do that for your own sake and get that out to your support teams. If you haven't already blocked out a time on your calendar to follow up on Friday, start doing that. And the action steps for this week, in addition, is to really go through these 4 critical areas that we talked about today. If there's any of them, grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, from 1 to 10. Now, if there's any of these areas where you're not strong with, I want you to make a commitment to start getting strong in these things. And as we start to build this really strong foundation, then we will start to have amazing businesses. So keep a lookout in a group. I'm going to put up a post so we can put takeaways from today. We'd love to have takeaways from you guys, please. Some reminders for all of you executive directors and above. And in 2 hours, there's going to be an executive director training for you guys that the company's putting on. Of course, tonight we have the leadership training at I think it starts at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Right after that at 5:30, we have a client support training that lots of you guys know about. And we have these amazing incentives that are out that if you look in the files in our group, the training on the 3x5 is in there, and the training on the Accelerate incentive is in there too, that Annika and Casey did a great job of making a video explaining that. So thank you guys for being on, for being up early. I want to thank all of the presenters today, and it's about getting into action now. This is an action-based boot camp, and so it just takes us doing the work. We have to do the work. We can't hope and wish and pray and just hope that things are going to change. It's never going to happen. We got to do the work every single day. We got to do it even if you don't feel like it. I don't feel like getting up at 5 o'clock this morning and preparing for this, but guess what? It means that much to me, so I do it anyway. So we have to do the work. I love you guys. Thank you guys for being on. Let's do this. Talk to you soon.